Hi guys, today I'm going to be talking to you about choice theory and reality therapy. Choice theory was authored by William Glasser. Originally a chemical engineer, he decided his true calling was psychiatry. Though he was trained in psychoanalytics, he quickly determined that that just wasn't his style and that it was rather useless when working with clients. Instead, he believed that people were far more capable of controlling their behavior than they were given credit for. William Glasser applied this idea to explain human behavior and named it control theory. However, it was later renamed choice theory and became the foundation in which therapists practice reality therapy. Glasser believed that problems are only relevant to the present and that individuals can actively make choices on how to behave and how they react to external forces. He also believed that the majority of our problems arise when we have unsatisfying or unhappy relationships in the present moment. So Glasser decided to focus on human behavior and our ability to control our behavior rather than things like feelings and mental illness. First, let's go over some of the basic assumptions of choice theory. This will give you a foundation of concepts on which to base your practice of reality therapy. The first basic assumption of choice theory is that human behavior is purposeful. It is motivated by internal forces rather than external forces. Specifically, all behavior is motivated by wanting to fulfill our basic needs. According to choice theory, we have 5 basic needs. These are survival, love and belonging, power, freedom, and fun. So survival is our basic need for self-preservation. It's your need to be alive by having air to breathe, food to eat, and shelter and clothing for protection and safety. Love and belonging is the need for connectedness and relationships with other people. Power is our need to feel in control of our lives and to also experience success through accomplishments and achievements. Freedom is our need for freedom to do what we want and freedom from things we don't want. It's our need for autonomy and independence and feeling that we can make our own choices. Fun is our need to experience things like enjoyment, new things in life, and growth. These basic needs are wired into our DNA. According to choice theory, we don't satisfy these needs directly. Starting from when we were born, we continuously make note of and store information on the things that make us feel good. We all instinctually behave to satisfy these same needs, but we do it in our own unique way. This storage of feel-good information is called our quality world. It's an ideal world made up of our wants and the behaviors we choose to satisfy those wants. It also consists of how we try to control our environment, our belief systems that make us feel good, and the kinds of people we want to have connections with, which is the most important aspect of our quality world. It's the world we really, really want to live in. So a focus of reality therapy is, well, making this world become reality. So making it more attainable through modifying our behaviors. Another basic assumption of choice theory is that we view the world through the lens of our own personal wants and needs, not as it actually is. Choice theory has roots in existentialism based on the belief that we have the power to and are responsible for our choices in the world we create for ourselves. Or as Glasser would say, we have the ability to learn how to replace our external control psychology with internal control psychology.
I'm responsible for my own happiness. I can't even be responsible for my own breakfast. Todd, I need help.
as you can see, BoJack Horseman is not aware of his potential to be in control of his own life. However, there's hope. So this assumption also implies that we aren't helpless victims that misery constantly seeks out. Rather, we sometimes actually choose to feel bad and invite misery into our lives in an attempt to feel more in control. Although we have personally chosen to feel bad in order to feel more control over our lives, a lot of times we end up blaming others and we accuse them for making us feel bad, all because they wouldn't just do what we wanted them to do. This makes me feel kind of bad for all the guys who really wanted world domination someday. When it comes to feelings, choice theory likes to ing stuff. So instead of actually experiencing depression or anger, we are actively depressing or angering ourselves. So again, these are things we are actively choosing to experience. These feelings are behaviors that we have generated for ourselves, and we have an active choice in not feeling these things. A third basic assumption of choice theory is that we always have control over what we do. Wow, this is only getting slightly repetitive. But we all possess something called total behavior. Our total behavior is comprised of 4 distinct but interconnected components. So the first component is acting. These are things we physically do, like walking, running, or talking. The second component is thinking. This involves our voluntary thoughts or self-statements we make to ourselves. The third component is feeling. This includes things like joy, fear, or anxiety. The fourth component is physiology. So these are psychosomatic symptoms, things like shaking or sweating, according to the book Headaching. So I guess you can actually choose to have a headache. So out of these 4 behaviors, acting and thinking are the ones that we have an easier time changing. It's more difficult changing the way we feel. However, feelings and physiological symptoms occur as a result of our actions and our thoughts, or our acting and thinking. So addressing acting and thinking first will subsequently improve feeling and physiology in the process. Because all 4 parts are interrelated, you can't simply choose to only change one component of total behavior without in turn impacting the other 3. So, for example, if you're wanting to experience the feeling of depression and its physiological symptoms, you're going to have to break out that depression playlist of sad songs to really get in the mood. Okay, so quick rundown of choice theory. In case you've already forgotten, the only behavior we control is our own. Yeah, people do shitty things, but they're not at fault for how we're feeling because we have the power to choose how we will react to them. Remember when I said choice therapy only focuses on the present? Well, that's mostly still true. You can only bring up the past if an issue or problem you're experiencing right now in the present is directly related to something in the past. However, it's important to remember that the experience is still in the past and you cannot change that. But the behavior that's occurring now in the present is what you do have control over. Almost all of our problems and negative symptoms we are currently experiencing are the result of unsatisfying relationships we have in the present moment. Again, we may have had a crappy relationship in the past, or maybe we had an insecure bond with our caregivers as children, but those things are also experiences that we can't change. What we can do is change our behaviors now. We want to change these behaviors so we can have friends instead of everyone hating us. Now that we understand choice theory a little bit more and have a nice solid foundation for practice, let's talk about how we apply this to a therapeutic group. There are no step-by-step instructions that dictate how to incorporate all of the concepts of choice theory into reality therapy. So basically, you just gotta wing it. However, there are two components to reality therapy that, when mixed into a skillful and creative cocktail, they can help guide you in implementing this approach in a group setting. The two ingredients are the counseling environment and specific procedures that lead to changes in behavior. So, the counseling environment is the atmosphere you create for your group members during sessions and which should promote change. So, these are your basic therapy skills like listening to clients when they're talking about their problems, expressing empathy rather than judgment, and utilizing self-disclosure and humor when it's appropriate and serves a purpose. It's also crucial to block any negative or hurtful behaviors by group members that can damage the group bond, like blaming, attacking, and criticizing one another. So, pretty basic therapy stuff. So, actual procedures that you can follow to help facilitate change in our clients' behaviors are composed in the WDEP system. So the W stands for once, D for direction, E for self-evaluation, and P for planning. So W is for once. So the first thing we want to do is figure out each group member's wants, needs, perceptions, hopes, and dreams. This is a lot of information, so as the group facilitator, we should assist members in defining exactly what these wants and needs are. Questioning is very crucial in the process. Questions should only be used to encourage deeper thinking, understanding, and evaluation of what clients want, rather than to simply pass the time and avoid awkward silences. So the W procedure explores the group members' quality worlds and allows for the group facilitator to assist members in finding ways to mold their external world to meet this internal image they have. There should be a continuous discussion because people change, and this means that their quality world can also change. Basically, this is the assessment phase where you're gaining more information on the problems your clients are dealing with and what they desire to change in order to improve their lives. After group members have established what their quality world looks like, so what their wants and needs are, we can then focus on identifying how their current behaviors are impacting their ability to satisfy those needs. So this requires exploring their total behavior. Here, we can discuss with group members how past behaviors were problematic and inhibited them from accessing what it is they want. We can use this information to make smarter and hopefully more effective choices in the future. This is important because self-awareness increases the chance of change actually occurring. Feelings are only discussed by examining how our actions and thoughts cause certain feelings. This intense focus on actions and thoughts is really intended to help clients recognize that this is what they have the most control over and where change is most likely to occur, and will ultimately help them feel better. Internal self-talk is also explored to learn how this may be impacting the choices made by group members in their everyday lives. Okay, next up is self-evaluation. So now that group members understand their wants, needs, and behaviors a bit more, it's important for them to explore how these are all related and influence what type of world they're creating for themselves. So members evaluate the consequences of their behaviors. Change won't occur unless the individual realizes that it is their behaviors that are creating their misery. So self-evaluation encourages clients to pinpoint their problem and recognize what exactly needs to change. So it's important that group members come to these realizations on their own rather than the therapist telling them exactly what is wrong, because this reinforces the positive behavior of group members taking responsibility for their own choices. Finally, planning is where all that talk gets translated into actions that can be carried out by group members. So group members are identifying and discussing specific things they can do to change their behavior. This is also known as formulating their action plans. Ideally, these plans are based on the individual's own thoughts and ideas. However, the therapist can offer up some of their own ideas to help to form these plans. Action plans should start out small with short-term and easily attainable goals. Success in carrying out these plans will build confidence and self-esteem so that more long-term and extensive action plans don't seem so scary and impossible. These plans are also shared with the group so that other group members can offer one another their feedback and encouragement. Thank you for bearing with me as I explain choice theory and reality therapy. Now, if you are interested in talking about power struggles, feel free to volunteer for today's group session.